Welcome to the Homeownership podcast presented by Momentum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. This series covers all things real estate and the best practices for buying, selling, and owning properties. Now here's your host, Sean Maloney.
Welcome to episode 122, Why Are Home Prices Soaring? I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. I want to talk to you this week about why are home prices going so high and where is the end? Or is there an end? Or does anyone even really know? Let's go over a bunch of different things that are going on and a bunch of different factors that definitely impact prices and how they may continue to rise prices for really the unforeseeable future, like for a very long time. Remember, with so few of homes being built annually, we're falling behind on demand. In the rules of supply and demand, this means prices will increase. We have a lot of different factors going on, right? We have tons of different things that are affecting people's lives. COVID-19 was a big one. COVID-19 made people aware that being locked in the house is a little more painful if you don't have space. If you're not in a single family unit and you're in a multi-family building and you have to share things like elevators and all these other things, it can be scary. It can be a place that people don't want to be. And also it can be a bit lonely in the idea of staying up in a big building and having no outdoor space or having no area to just get out and enjoy your time. Living in the city, you walk down the street, you with so many people, there was no way to get away. So that caused a lot of people who were city dwellers to come down to the suburbs. We have lots of different factors that came into that too. We had a lot of riots this past year. Had a lot of violence in the cities. We had a lot of crime rates increase. So people are hearing gunshots outside the house. Again, another reason people are moving out to single family houses. It's easy to understand how somebody could feel unsafe when you have COVID-19 and riots going on at the same time. It's like, okay, well, if I could go out if it wasn't for COVID, but then I might get mugged or get shot or get something like violent to happen to me, that's not good. So that definitely pushed a lot of people. Now, what's another thing that pushed people out of the cities? With so many people wanting more space, we're seeing single family housing demand surge. This means we have city people hitting the suburbs based on the ability to work remotely from home. This is one that a lot of people don't think about, but remote work really has changed the world. I've been working recently in Provincetown, which is kind of a remote area. Mostly was vacationers and maybe some residents, but it also has a very low housing count because of a lot of protected land. Now we have people who can work remotely. We have people moving from New York City, moving from Connecticut, moving from Maine, moving from lots of different places in order to enjoy their life more, just be able to get out and live on Cape Cod, a beautiful place and beautiful land. This means that people are moving to rural areas and really they're bringing down that big city money. They're bringing down those high dollars. They're used to spending so much money to live in the urban area. When they move to the suburbs, they're flexing their wallets and it's really increasing the prices on absolutely everybody that's used to the prices being different. And the tough part is in a lot of these rural communities, they didn't really have jobs that were high paying. But the good news is with this flex and change, this remote work, it means people who were unable to, maybe they didn't have a car, maybe they didn't have the means to get into the city, they now can work for companies in the city on remote work. So it's actually going to rise the locals' prices up in the idea of they'll be able to afford more as well. So that's a really interesting take on everything as far as we really don't know where the cap is now. Because remember, with remote work, first off, you can work in Boston, but now you could literally work for any multinational company anywhere in the world from anywhere in the world. This means you could be riding in the back of a car working for a company in Taiwan, all while talking to a company in Australia and simulcasting it to the office. This is a crazy world as far as we're able to piecemeal all this together at the blink of an eye, really, because the technology is so great, whether it be something along the lines of a video conferencing call or it be something like a collaboration software where everyone can work on the same project at once without being in the same room. Now let's talk about another factor, one that a lot of people have been seeing, especially if you go into the big box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot. There is a severe rising cost of materials. Rising cost of materials leads to higher pricing on new construction homes. This raises the price across all homes though, because you got to remember, replacement cost has risen. So even if you're not building the house's value has gone up because it's a stack of lumber. To get that same stack of lumber, to buy those shingles, to buy that wiring, to buy the windows, to buy all the different things you need to do would cost you more money, which also means your insurance bills are going to go up. This means the costs not only just on the surface level that you see, the price of buying the home, but remember, the higher the value of the house, the more taxes you can get charged. The higher value of the house, the more insurance you can get charged. The higher the value of the house, the higher the repairman can charge you to do repairs on the house. This is something that's going to continue to raise the prices. I do see this individual thing kind of leveling out. This was caused a lot by COVID-19 shutdowns, supply chain issues, things like that. So I do think rising costs of materials will level out a little bit. They'll certainly not dip to where they were before just because the demand is way up. But ultimately, I don't think they'll sustain at the same price they are. That one isn't really here forever, I don't think. Now let's think about supply. Supply is down. Why? Because it's harder than ever to build. Government regulation really is difficult when it comes to getting lots, when it comes to some people talking about too much density, so they're trying to raise the square footage that a lot needs to be to build. And just in general, I mean, say today we bought a piece of land we want to build on, it's going to take a few months, if not a year, to get the permits, and then we actually have to build the house. So that means that we're building slower than ever. It is rising again, but if you look back at, say, the 50s and 60s, they were building houses at a rate that is just enormously larger than what's currently going on. And I do see that kind of starting to surge back, but talented labor and builders, they all are having trouble with finding that labor. If you're looking for a great job, real quick suggestion, labor jobs out there, whether it be electricians, plumbers, construction workers, excavators, tree specialists, all these different people, they're hiring and they're paying big money. Welders, another one, hiring and paying big top dollar because they can't get people to do those jobs. Everyone wants to get into the tech-based jobs. Now, another factor would be cheap interest rates. Cheap interest rates have been around for a little bit right now, and they're sticking around. That cheap money means that you can afford more money. Typically around 1% equals 10% on your budget. So being down in these 2 and 3 numbers means that people's budgets have severely risen in the idea of the pre-approval. Because remember, it's all about the monthly payment and whether you can afford it or not by the bank standard. So as the interest rate goes down, your monthly payment goes up because more of the money is going towards principal and less of it is going towards interest. Interest rates rising could slow the prices a little bit. But right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to do that because COVID-19 and everything that happened really has them trying to keep the market stable by pump and dump money and by cheap interest rates. So inflation is another thing. As we print money from the Fed, as we continue to give out the Biden bucks, as we continue to give out the Trump bucks, as we continue to give away free money to the citizens, it means that 1, people have more money to spend, but 2, money is worth less because there is more of it in the world. The more money that there is in the world on a single dollar or on a yen or on any of the different currencies that are out there, that currency is starting to devalue itself. Just like you see in certain countries where they had the government really kind of ruin the money by accident, suddenly a soda might cost you $1,000, right? Because it's not that it's $1,000 like the $1 that you think of today. It's $1,000 at that devalued rate. So that ultimately means sometimes when you're writing checks, they're not worth the amount of money it says on it. In the idea of when you were born, that check would be more valuable if it said the same number. You see this all over the place. You see this in the rising prices of commodities and different things. Sometimes, yes, it's due to the idea of that it costs more to make it, but most of the time when you're looking at commodities such as things like bread, milk, eggs, the rising cost reflects the inflation and the fact that the dollar is worth less. Now, here's one that a lot of people don't think about, but immigration increase. We're immigrating in over 1 million legal immigrants a year now. That's a lot of extra heads. Guess what? A person who shows up as an immigration person does not have a home. This means we have 1 million new bodies to land in rental units, ownership units, and wherever else they end up. This means that the people already here have 1 million new competitors each year for that. Of course, most of the immigration that comes in is not exactly wealthy when they first get here, but I'll tell you, I know a lot of very hungry immigrants when they get here when it comes to the idea of working hard, and they are working their way through the system as far as starting in rentals and working their way up. But also realize there are tons of immigrants that do come in high paying jobs. One of the ways into the United States, the easiest is to be an intellect, to have a great job or a great job title, and to be able to come over here and bring those skills. Whenever you're bringing in immigrants, you want talented immigrants. It's easy to find people who want the labor jobs as far as immigration, but it's not easy to find those people that are the scientists, that are the doctors, and that's why you see some of them come over here because they want the good jobs that we have in America. So now we have these immigrants coming in and buying up houses. I love immigration. I think it's very important. I think it's an amazing thing because if we don't continue to add new talent and new help and new ideas, then you become stale as a country. But at the end of the day, they're a competitor. So every single baby that's born, every single immigrant that comes in, these are new people that need new housing. So if we don't raise supply, and that is down right now, and we have all these things going on, that means that we're all going to pay more money. The truth is, right now, it doesn't seem like anything's going to get any cheaper. To be honest with you, I continue to think that we're going to have a rapid increase of prices across the board, whether it be cars, houses, motorcycles, pools, doesn't matter what you're buying. I think the prices are going to continue to rise. And I would say definitely for the year 2021, who knows what we have moving forward, but I would say over the next 6 months, we're going to continue to see prices rise. So if you're a buyer and you're sitting out there saying, I don't like what prices are today, I'll sit back and wait, that might cost you. And if you're a seller saying, I don't know if I should sell now because I'm going to get more money, well, the truth is, if you're just reinvesting into another house, you'll start building equity there as well. Don't hang on to your house. Make the move, make the change, because as prices go up, you don't know where interest rates are going to go. You don't know where some of the other factors that make that housing affordable to you are going to go. The prices could increase to a point, and the interest rate could increase to where you can't afford to move to the home you want. 2021 is a great year to move. There's a lot of demand out there. It's a fun time to sell. It's an interesting process. A little bit difficult on the buyer side and the idea of you need to be making really aggressive offers. But if you get out there, you get the right agent, you work with one of our Move mentors and they help you understand the process, I can guarantee you're going to have a better experience. Thank you so much for listening today. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, tell your friends and family about the podcast, jump on, check out our blog. We have a Facebook group as well as a newsletter that are all free that go over great information on buying, selling, and owning homes. Have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you next week.